I still remember that afternoon, clear as day, the one when three strangers stepped out of a silver SUV and tried to tell me how to live on my own land. They walked down my driveway like they owned it, matching polos, tactical belts, fake badges shining in the sun. From a distance, they looked official enough to fool someone who hadn't seen real authority before. But I wasn't someone. I'd spent half my life spotting men who pretended to be in control, and I knew in an instant these guys were playing dress-up. The tall one called out, "Mr. Holt, we need to talk about that vehicle." I was wiping down the bed of my old F-150, the one that still smelled like sawdust and oil. I set my tools aside, looked up slow, and said, "What about it?" He smirked and said it violated community standards. Said trucks like mine made the neighborhood look bad. His buddies chuckled behind him like they were part of some secret club. I looked at their badges, no city seal, no county emblem, just a cheap sticker with a tree and some stars. "Since when does the HOA get to decide what I drive?" I asked. The tall one squared his shoulders. "Since the day you moved here." Inside, my wife Candace was helping our daughter with homework, our son tossing a basketball 2 houses down. I could feel their eyes from the window watching. "You can park that truck outside the subdivision," the man continued, "or face penalties." I almost laughed. Penalties from who, I asked. "You boys carry handcuffs or just laminated lies?" The smirk slipped for half a second. That's when Candace stepped out, calm but sharp. "What's going on?" she asked, her tone sweet, but her stare cutting through him. "Nothing you need to worry about, ma'am," he said. "We're just making sure your family follows the rules for everyone's safety." Candace raised an eyebrow. "Safety? From what exactly?" His truck, the shortest man muttered under his breath, more like safety from him. I heard it clear as thunder. Every muscle in me wanted to react, but I didn't. You don't take the bait from people like that. You let them show their hand. So I just stared until the air went tight enough for them to feel it. Then they backed off, got in their SUV, and rolled down the street like they'd just laid down the law. That night, dinner was quieter than usual. My kids didn't talk much, forks scraping plates, eyes flicking toward me, like I might explain the world back into order. Finally, my daughter asked Dad, "Were they real cops?" I shook my head. "No, sweetheart. Just people pretending." That's how control works. It starts with a costume. Candace looked across the table. "You saw their faces, Luke. They weren't there for rules, they were there for you." I nodded. "And they'll be back." The next morning, the neighborhood felt different. Folks who usually waved kept their heads down. One woman walked her dog right past Candace without a word. By noon, I caught 2 men across the street whispering, watching my house like it was cursed ground. That's when Don Peterson, neighbor down the road, pulled up. He rolled down his window and said quietly, "They came for me last year. Said my porch wasn't up to code. Scared my wife half to death. We sold within a month." I asked why nobody called the cops. He sighed. "Because the cops don't care until blood spills." I went inside and told Candace, "This isn't random. It's organized." She asked, organized by who? I didn't know yet, but I intended to. That night I set up my old motion cameras from back when I used to do private security work. I made notes, plate numbers, patterns, timing. Candace didn't like it. "You're slipping back into that mindset," she said softly. "The one you promised you left behind." I told her that mindset's the reason we're still safe. 2 nights later, the Explorer came back, headlights sweeping across our windows like spotlights. They didn't stop, just rolled by slow, letting me know they were watching. It was psychological warfare, plain and simple. I'd seen it before, overseas, wear the target down until he breaks. but I'd never been one to break. A few days later, they showed up again midday this time while Candace was unloading groceries. She stood her ground, told them to leave. The leader laughed, said, "Families who don't cooperate usually regret it." That's when I walked out of the garage, wiping sweat off my neck, calm as a preacher before Sunday service. "You're back," I said. "Guess that means you didn't get the message." He smirked. "We said we'd check." I nodded toward his clipboard. "You really ought to find better props. That seal's from a clip art site, and your badge clips don't even match. If you're gonna play dress-up, at least commit to the bit." His jaw tightened. "You think you're funny?" "No," I said. "I think you're sloppy." The man behind him stepped closer, puffing his chest. "Careful how you talk to us." I tilted my head. "Or what, you'll find me again with your printer paper." That's when Candace's voice cut through. "You need to leave, now." They hesitated. The leader said, "We'll be back. You'll wish you'd listened." I smiled. "I'm counting on it." That night I called an old contact, Detective Miles Carter, one of the few men I trusted from my Army days. I told him everything. He said, "Send me what you've got. I'll dig." So I did every detail, every plate, every pattern. The next day, Miles called back. "Luke, these guys aren't freelancers. They're part of a property scam ring, fake HOA cops pushing families to sell cheap. Your footage might be the key." That was all I needed to hear. I told Candace, "We're not waiting for them to stop. We're going to make them stop." So I set a trap. I angled my truck across the driveway, rigged the cameras to stream directly to Miles's team, and waited. Candace didn't sleep much that night. She said, "You're playing with fire." I said, "I'm not playing. I'm matching their rhythm." They came back 2 nights later, headlights slicing through the dark. The SUV parked right in front of the house. Clipboard in hand, the leader shouted, "Evening. Mr. Holt, we're here to serve notice." I stepped out of the garage, calm and quiet. "Notice for what I asked." "For non-compliance," he said, waving a stack of fake papers. "You're obstructing our process." "And you're trespassing," I said. "That's a felony. Want to keep digging?" He threw the papers onto the driveway. "Sign or else, Drew." "Or else what?" I asked. "Or else we make you move like all the others." That's when the sirens hit. Faint at first, then louder, red and blue flashing off their polished SUV. The leader's smirk cracked. "What did you do?" he shouted. I said, "Invited a few friends." 2 unmarked cars pulled up, doors swung open, and Miles stepped out, badge glinting. "Hands where we can see them," he barked. The 3 froze, caught mid-performance. The shorter one dropped his flashlight. The tall one looked like he wanted to vanish. Miles walked up, calm as a man who's done this 100 times. "You're under investigation for harassment, impersonating officers, and property fraud." The leader tried to bluster. "We're contractors." "This is a misunderstanding." Miles cut him off. "Then you won't mind us searching your car." They found forged citations, fake IDs, even a printed list of addresses families targeted across 3 counties. I watched them get cuffed under my porch light, and for the first time in weeks, the air around my